This production is sponsored by The Good Estate Agent. With an average turnaround time of 3 weeks, if you want your house sold quickly, then contact Stefan today on 01942 356 577. Quote Super League Raw for 33% off. So good evening and welcome. It's a Thursday, it's 6 o'clock. It can mean only one thing, the greatest build-up to the greatest game on earth. Round 13, just literally 2 hours away. And with me tonight is my good friend, Mr. Nixon. Good evening, Greg.
Good evening, sir. You well?
Absolutely, sir. And on debut is Mr. Aden Simpson, Simo to his mates. We'll put him in the middle so the bearded member's not in his hairline. Anyway, moving swiftly on, we could get away with that, of course. But no, welcome, gentlemen. Welcome to, of course, what will sure to be a very good hour or so of chat and debate in anticipation for round number 13 of the Betfred Super League. Right, before we start, let's say a quick hello to people who are joining us live this evening. If they're in the chat, actually, they've not actually said hello yet. How rude. I'm sure they will in a minute when we start to see who is actually in the chat. Anyway, let's go straight away to the actual league table. Here we go. Let's just move this around a little bit as we come into the round. And, of course, this is how the league table looks ahead of round number 13. The Robins at the top, 2 points clear of the Warriors. Then it's the Rhinos who, let's be fair, doing really, really well. Then the Leopards, of course, who dropped down to fourth last week. The Saints, well, they are in fifth spot. In sixth are Trin. Of course, then FC just outside the top seven. The Dragons, eighth. Wolves and Tigers go head-to-head, ninth against 10th on Friday night. And, of course, the Giants in action tonight against Lee with the Salford Red Devils in 12. Hello to Andy Bibby, Tony Pennington, Alex Sharp, and Alan Clegg, all with us as well. Boys, the league table doesn't lie. Some, you know, let's be fair, Trinity, sixth, possibly would have took a few people by surprise, but they're on merit, Simo.
Yeah, they are. Yeah, they're on merit at the minute. We'll just have to see how this week and this round goes.
It sounds like you've got gout.
Yeah,
that hurt you saying that, didn't it?
Not as bad as Joel's Wi-Fi, surely.
Probably not. Absolute outstanding. Right, let's get into the games then. Of course, tonight, this is what we're going to be going through. Tonight, of course, the Giants taking on the Lee Leopards live on Sky from 7:30. Of course, we'll take you right up to the Sky production as always. Probably allow you about quarter of an hour to go and get yourself a beer out the fridge and prepare yourself for that. Then, of course, tomorrow, some real belters. Hull KR against the Saints. Salford Wigan, of course. Warrington Castleford, both very close in the table. Warrington, are they going to rest players? What's going to be happening there? We'll get into that debate in a minute. Then on Saturday, it's not at 2:30, it's at 4:30. But we will be doing Watch Along Live. Hilly in the chair. We've got a couple of volunteers, we think, now to be joining him. So more to be announced over the weekend with regards to that. But what a great game. That's going to be potentially the game of the round. And then finally, FC travel to the Dragons. Right, okay, let's start getting into each of these games. Let's start with tonight's. Here we go, gentlemen. Let's walk you through it. Let's just walk you through this one. So head-to-head in Super League, 7-7. What's happened there? Oh, dear me. My apologies. 7. Hang on. I've just made a right hash my end. My apologies. 1 second. Don't know why I did that. That was silly. Never mind. We do say it's Super League Raw, don't we? We say that every week. It's definitely Raw at times. Anyway, we're back. Here we go. My apologies for that. Right, where was I? So, yeah, 7-6 in Super League history. 4-1, though, to the Leopards in the last 5 meetings between these two sides. Both have lost their last 2 games as well. You can see that the Leopards, of course, scoring more points against as well. They've conceded the less. The tackle efficiency pretty close. The Giants better with the kicking boot this year. And you'll see there that the errors and certainly the errors going more for the Giants and more penalties given away by the Leopards. The last game, of course, between these two was earlier in the season, round 2. League 24-10 winners over the Huddersfield Giants. The Lee Leopards is an interesting fact for you boys. Yet to get a yellow or a red card in Super League 2025. Huddersfield have had 3 yellows. Looking at that, Simo, advantage the Leopards?
Slightly. I think the 21-day match squad from Huddersfield is the strongest it's been this year. And I think it'll be a very, very close game. I mean, Lee have lost the last 3 games on bounce, including the Challenge Cup game. When was the last time that Lee potentially lost 4 games on bounce? It's going to be a while back.
Yeah, absolutely. Lee have been in sparkling form since returning. Overall, since returning Super League, it's a very, very good point. Greg, at some point, you feel the wheels got to turn for the Huddersfield Giants, whether that's tonight or not, is another thing. But I think when you look at that tackle efficiency, both of these two sides very, very close there in terms of that game. So it does, because they're so close, it does make for an interesting game in terms of the amount of points they potentially could concede against each other.
It really does, yeah. I think, as I said on Tuesday night, I think if Huddersfield could string together a full 80 minutes, they are going to beat somebody. I think it's been quite clear this season. They have a good 40, 60 minutes and then seem to fall apart. All the other way around, they have a really poor first 30 minutes and then seem to pull it together. If they could just pull a good 75, 80-minute performance together, I think they will surprise somebody. Tristan Powell, rumoured to maybe making his debut tonight. So be interesting to see how he goes. Ethan O'Neill, I think, is out. Is he out for the Leopards with a broken cheekbone?
Yes, he is.
Yeah, so, there's kind of swings and roundabouts there. I think if they can do that, then they, as I say, they could quite possibly shock somebody quite soon.
Simo absolutely right. The Giants have got a very strong looking side. Liam Sutcliffe, Jack Murchie, Matty English, Fenton Rogers and Niall Evans. Some big hitters there, don't get me wrong. But they've got the cover, of course. Now Lola Hayes back. We'll start there, because that's got to be the first big decision that Luke Robinson gets right tonight, Simo, is that, for me, he has to start Flanagan either 6 or at fullback, probably fullback, with Lola Haya taking over from Rush. If he doesn't pick Flanagan tonight, I wouldn't understand the logic of that, would you?
No, I think the only reason if he doesn't pick George Flanagan this evening would be injury. It can't be anything other than he's injured, because he has been one of the shining lights in a very dull Huddersfield team over the last 6-8 games. I think he's got to. For me, I'd probably be looking at putting Flanagan at fullback and Tui at 6, but that's just my opinion.
Yeah, Greg, would you agree with that? Flanagan at fullback?
100%. I think unless he's injured, I think he has to play. And Lola Haya, as Simo says, has got to go back to 6. It's where he's most effective.
I think so. Tristan Powell obviously gives them a little bit of mobility in the front row as well. They're pretty well stacked there. Tom Burgess is in, Wilson is in, Matty English is a bit of a loss. Joe Greenwood, who's been in good form this season, he's in there. So certainly in the forward unit, I think Huddersfield look good. It's those backs that have really got to come to the party, and I think that with Flanagan at full back, that's more dangerous. For me, I don't know about you, Simo, but I don't think Tui Lolohea is as mobile as Flanagan as a fullback, do you?
No, and I think that Flanagan gets quite a lot of coverage at back, similar to Armstrong at Lee, for example, just to try and even that kind of play out. I think Tui is not as mobile, and I think when Robbo last week mentioned that he'd not picked Flanagan and Tui for his defensive efforts, well, I didn't get that. He's not the greatest in D either. He's Tui. So I'd definitely go with Flanagan at fullback.
It's going to be fascinating. And of course, then for the Lee Leopards, Adrian Lamb's got a decision to make. David Armstrong back in the squad for this one, gentlemen. Let's not forget that in that's round 2 game, Armstrong was in fact the man of the match that day when these two met last time. Just to jog your memory, a great try, 1 assist, 4 busts, 2 clean breaks, carried the ball 15 times, 142 metres. So, David Armstrong's got a good muscle memory when it comes to playing the Huddersfield Giants. Greg, you've already said it. Ethan O'Neill, a massive loss in second row. Maybe, just maybe, softened with the pending return of Frankie Holton. But for me, they've got, again, in the same way we're talking about Flanagan, I don't think Bailey Hodgson deserves to be dropped. If Armstrong comes back, they've got to try and piece Hodgson in, possibly for Hanley in centre, would you say, Greg?
I would have thought so. Yeah, I've been impressed with Hodgson from what I've seen of him so far this season. I've been impressed with Armstrong as well. I've been a bit injury prone so far, but yeah, I think they need to find a place for Hodgson. Telling that Charlie started on the bench last week as well, so maybe that there's maybe something more in that. But yeah, I think Hodgson, they've got to find a place for him tonight. The lad is a talent.
Yeah, I agree. I think Simo Charlie starts tonight. I mean, I was talking to Stef earlier. He seems to think he could be Darnell McIntosh who makes way. Do you agree?
Yeah, completely agree. I think I were fortunate enough to see young Bailey Hodgson make his one and only appearance for Castleford before he went over to Australia and then returned. I think due to his form and stuff, obviously it all depends on how fit Armstrong is, whether he actually plays. If Armstrong's fit, he plays and he plays fullback. I'd definitely be putting Bailey Hodgson in centres, and I'd be putting Amaya Hanley onto wing, and I'd be making way for Darnell McIntosh. So for me, Charlie would be on other wing. So yeah, I actually agree with Stef for once.
I'm sure he's delighted. In terms of, let's just talk. Obviously, Lachlan Lamb's going to be big for the Leopards tonight. Leeds Super League in terms of assists with 17 this season. Edwin Pape. Very hit and miss against FC, Greg. He's actually missed the most tackles in Super League with 62. Now, we know when he puts a shot on, it sticks and it hurts. Just ask Cade Cust. But in terms of 62 missed tackles, it's one of the KPIs he would not want to be leading. He's got to be tidier in that area, hasn't he?
Yeah, especially around the ruck as well, I think. There's no question when he's on form, he's a quality player. Could quite possibly be on his day the best hooker in Super League going forward. But yeah, he's got to tighten his defence up. I think sometimes he's too intent on putting the big hit on rather than just doing his job and stopping the guy in front of him. I'm sure our Leeds fans might have something to say about that, but that has come across for me this season especially. But as I say, on his day, he's devastating, isn't he, Pape?
He is, mate. He is 100%. No doubt about that whatsoever. Josh Charnley, just one try needed to move ahead of Alan Smith to joint 27th place in the British game in terms of all-time points scored. And he's also one try away from his 250th Super League try. Big chance that Josh Charnley does that this evening. I mean, there's so many battles in here. The Joffa and the likes in the front row are always going to be interesting. Knowing Trout has been in great form as well for the Lee Leopards. But the one that I think is, I always try and pick out a key battle. And I think in this one, it is the hookers. I think the dummy half duel is going to be very, very interesting indeed. Pape, we've talked about his missed tackles, but there's no doubt in attacking phases, the graphic tells it all. I mean, that is exceptional from Pape. 4 tries, 2 assists, 33 busts, 8 breaks. He's 63 dummy runs, the most in Super League, 111 carries. Now, they're both very different types of hooker. Let's not forget Wolford's only played 7 games, but I think Wolford he never has created a lot of tries, but he likes a scurry from dummy half, and he tends to be the person that commits the defense, offloads for somebody else to make the tackles. I think his injury is, I thought he was pretty good against Warrington in the first game. Greg, I'll bring you in on that in a moment. But of course, injury has blighted him and maybe has took a little bit out of him. He's one of those players that the Giants is getting back that I think once he gets a bit of fitness, I think he's going to be a real key asset for Luke Robinson. And, with each game, I think he'll get better. But like I say, we saw him at close quarters in the opening game of the season at Huddersfield when Joel graciously had us over at the John Smiths. And I saw enough of him that day to say he could be a prized asset for Huddersfield long term.
If he can stay injury-free, no doubt about it. Am I right in saying I think he was the home side's player of the match?
I mean, it was great. It was between him and Greenwood, wasn't it, on the day?
Yeah, I think it was. I thought he was really good. These are the two kinds of players you want in the same squad: an explosive hooker and a controlling hooker. And as you say, they're two different types of player. I think I think Wolford is a type of hooker that likes to control the game, a bit of a Sam Powell, if you like. And it'd be interesting to see the battle, as you say, Dave, the battle that these two put up against one another. Because he's more of a Wolford is the kind of player you want with a calm head around the ruck. Ipap is the guy you want to break through and set something up in a spectacular fashion. So these are two hookers, as I say, that you would love to have in the same squad, bringing one up, rotating them both through the game as the game dictates.
Simo, you're nodding your head. You agree with that? It should be. I think Greg's right. It's different styles, but it's a compelling battle. This one.
Yeah, it's definitely a clash of styles. There are definitely a yin and a yang. These two, and Greg's completely right. You'd love them in the same team because they'd complement each other very well. I think it'll be a great battle on tonight. And yeah, I think, like you say, I think Wolford's obviously come across decent player, struggled with injuries, but now he seems to have got over that injury. Obviously, they've got numerous injuries that they're currently getting back week after week, and I think Wolford and Clune could be the two keys that Huddersfield have been missing.
Yeah, couldn't agree with you more. Earl Crabtree sees this as a Giants win tonight. Earl's got in touch. He sees it 4 for the Giants, a win by 4. Greg, you went Lee 9-17. I went Lee 1-8. I saw it a little bit closer. Simo, obviously yours gets lost in all the chat on a Tuesday night. So remind us, where do you think this one's going to go?
I went Giants 1-8.
I think Giants win.
Yeah, I think the Giants are at home. Not that it really makes a difference because they've not got many fans, but I think having home advantage, and I just think that they're gonna click, and I think tonight will be the night.
For anybody who's watching on Facebook tonight, do us a favour. Could you switch to YouTube? It helps the channel and it helps us to generate the much needed funds to give back in prizes. So anybody on Facebook, please go across to our YouTube channel. You're not going to miss much. Go across now. Go watch us from there if you don't mind. But Paul, all the way from Canada, he thinks that Charlie's worth 100 metres plus tonight. If he's 100% fit, he should be in there. So yes, that's where our Paul sees this one. He wants Charlie in the side. Great stuff, boys. Right, let's move on. We're not going to dwell on this one too much for obvious reasons. The Salford Red Devils taking on the Wigan Warriors. When you look at that Wigan squad, and why wouldn't Matt pick his strongest squad? They've got a week off next week. Look, I'm just going to go high level on this. I think the other games are better in terms of getting into detail. It's second against 12th, right? Wigan have won their last 13 games against Salford. The Red Devils' last win against the Warriors was 18-14, 13th of March, 2020. Wigan have also won the last 5 away meetings with Salford. Last taste of defeat in that March game. And Bevan French, if you fancy, well, I don't think you can actually put a punt on this one, to be fair. But Bevan French has scored tries in the Warriors' last 4 games against Salford. History, we're not going to go there. Wigan 54-8 in terms of wins in Super League. Just a couple of high levels before I get your take on this, lads. Of course, they have played once already this season. That was in round 6, a 54-0 win at the Brick Community by the Wigan Warriors. Liam Marshall needs a hat-trick on Friday to reach 150 Super League tries. Adam Kieran, 24 points to reach 500 Super League points. Bevan French, 1 try to reach 100 in this one. Greg, don't really want to labour the point. It's going to be a bad night for Salford, isn't it?
Yeah, let's put it simply. Yes, it is. And, to add insult to injury, I think Wigan have recalled Harvey Makin from on loan at Salford this week because of their injury problems in the pack. So another player goes from Salford, which doesn't help their cause at all. But yeah, sport can surprise us sometimes. I just don't think this is the game to do it, unfortunately, for our Salford friends.
No. Simo, do we see, I'm going to say it, do we see 100 points?
No. So for Impact membership, we've got Wednesday night social. One of many reasons to join membership. So we all get on a Zoom call and we talk about various things. And we discussed Salford last night, and their starting 17 last week, there were only 2 or 3 players that wasn't actually like Super League level of in our all opinion. I just think it's very hard when Salford have got one, they're out of form, and two, they've lost like Nicarima and people to get them round field. I do feel for them. I can't see it being triple digits, but I can see it being at least 50, I'm afraid.
Wow. Yeah, I mean, look, we wish them well, but hey, here we go. Wigan. I'm sorry, Salford fans. We are going to stop your pain in a moment and move on. But Wigan have 3 of the top 5 try scorers in Super League in their ranks. Of course, Field, French, and Wardle. And here they are. They're in incredible form. Good luck is what we're saying to Salford. Field there. I mean, look at these stats, lads. I mean, and this is before they play Salford. Field 13 tries, 9 assists, 52 busts, 16 breaks, 176 carries for just under 1,300 metres. French 9 tries, 13 assists, another 53 busts, 9 breaks, 151 carries, just over 1,000. And then Wardle 9 tries, 5 assists, 22 busts, 8 breaks, 120 carries for 1,031. These 3 players probably rubbing their hands. Are we expecting all 3 of these to be on the score sheet Friday night?
Yes.
Yeah.
And then they bring Patrick Mago off the bench.
Yeah. Well, actually, when you consider as well the top tackle buster in Super League is Junior Nsemma with 76, you could see him having a bit of a bath as well, couldn't you?
Yeah.
So on behalf of us all Salford fans, good luck. We wish you well. But yeah, I mean, look, I think everybody is going to go Wigan, 18 plus. Earl Crabtree season by 30. I agree. I think it'll be over the half century. If Wigan are in the groove, it could be very, very painful indeed. Let's leave that one behind. Let's go to a game that absolutely should get all of our mouths watering. What a game this is. This is, of course, the main Sky production on Friday night, and rightly so. The Robins taking on the Saints. In history, no surprises, it is Saints that lead in history, but the Robins are 3-2 up in the last 5 meetings. Again, that just, I think, shows how much KR have grown over the last few years. 5 wins on the spin. Of course, I don't know, actually, that's wrong. Don't know why I've put 2 losses. It should be the other way around. 3 losses, 2 wins for the Saints. So apologies for that. It's 3 losses and 2 wins. Got me L's and W's wrong there. Shocking. If you look at the points for, very little in it. Very little in it. And, all this talk about St. Helens this season, 150 points against to 112. So again, not an awful lot in it. Tackle efficiency 0.5 difference in the favour of Saints. Both of them very similar with the boot. Both of them very, very similar in terms of errors and pens. So even though, KR are top of the league, Greg, that makes for a very, very tight game and an exciting game.
It's amazing when you put the stats side by side. Taking those 2 teams individually, you would think that KR would be streets ahead.
Yeah,
given the performances this season, and Saints have struggled. Yes, they've had injuries. They struggled to hit their straps. But yeah, when you see those stats side by side, two very evenly matched sides on that showing, and I for one will be looking forward to coming home and watching that one after the game tomorrow night. It could be. It's got the ingredients of being a classic. This game, you got Wembley mixed in there. Will KR rest players? There's that thrown into the mix as well. So yeah, looking forward to this one.
Well, we'll get to the squads in a minute. We'll have a debate over that. But as Simo, I'll bring you in. Since Wigan, of course, the loss to Wigan, KR were on a 5-game winning streak in Super League. They've scored 167 points in those 5 games, averaging 33 a game. That said, Saints have averaged 24. That's been bolstered a little bit the last 2 games against, Huddersfield and, God, remind me that last week.
Catalan
last week. Catalan and Huddersfield. 43 points have been their average in those 2 games. So that, again, bodes well from a neutral because both of these 2 sides are in free-flowing form going forward, and we should see tries.
Yeah, I know that St. Helens have got a favourable few fixtures coming up after Challenge Cup rest for St. Helens. I think this game could swing one way or t'other. I think it'll all depend for me is what KR are going to put in their starting 17, which way they're going to go. I know that obviously Arthur Morg's cup tied, so he won't be playing it final. So then you debate, obviously, like you said, when we get to 17 about Broadbent and other players. But yeah, I think it's going to be a very close game, this one.
Yes, again, for those who've just joined us, we have opened this up on Facebook to try and increase the amount of people that know of our shows and the rest. But do us a favour, if you're on Facebook, shoot across to YouTube. It's the same show, but you're helping us to grow the channel, and subscribe while you're there as well. Quite a few people have done that, and thank you very much indeed, Paul being one of them. Right, let's take a look at the squads. And, all this talk about KR, look how strong that is. It's incredibly strong. There's no sign there at all that this is going to be a weakened team. Yes, they might put Booth maybe on the wing for, Burgess or Davis if, there's an issue with them in terms of the fitness levels, But looking at that, Jez Litton, do they give Leyland more minutes? Possibly, to protect Litton. Do I expect Litton in the 17? I do. So you actually look down that, it's pretty much full strength. You look at the bottom of the screen there in terms of absentees. Oliver Gildart couldn't play anyway. He's out. He's gone. JWH is banned. He'll be back for the final. Mickey Mack's a long-term injury. So's Reece Martin. So they're the only absentees in the 21-man squad. So Willie Peters, true to his word here, Greg, has gone strong.
Yeah, there were rumours that he might have rested Dean Hadley because of the points he's got on disciplinary. But he's in the squad. Maybe he might be the one, if anybody, that they do rest for that reason. It was interesting to read what Danny Maguire was saying this week. Obviously, he's up against Warrington tomorrow, but saying that it's a mistake to rest players before a cup final because you lose that edge. That's Danny Maguire's viewpoint anyway. So yeah, I think Willie Peters will go for as strong a squad as possible that he's got available to him, knowing that some players may drop out next week because of the returnees. Morg will play, Simo says. I think he's been a great asset to KR in the absence of Reece Martin's goal kicking. So I don't expect Hull KR to field, I won't say weakened, but a changed side against Saints.
Well, they can't change that much. And that's the thing. They can't change. I mean, all right, Doro might get a bit more meat, maybe Brown, So as you were saying about, Hadley. Yeah, maybe Doro comes in.
Yeah.
But I know that, Simo, I know that the Robins fans have been pretty pleased with what Doro's done in a KR shirt, and he's, when he's been put in there.
Yeah, I know my mate Bazaru's just put a comment in now saying that Dino's definitely not playing and Doro will. I mean, he's probably not far wrong. I think that they'll rest one, potentially two. It wouldn't surprise me if they maybe pull Broadbent out, but given that obviously they're a bit not short in backs, but obviously with more cup tied for final, or if they've got a player like, say, for example, Tom Davis or Burgess that isn't quite 100%, then I think that Willie Peters will do the right thing. And I think, he'll put young Noah Booth on wing fortnight.
Yeah, absolutely. Yellow card for Greg Roach. He's on Facebook. Get over to YouTube, Mr. Roach. You are on warning, sir. Get over there. Right, okay. I mean, look, let's go over to the Saints side. And again, he's got a decision. He's got a decision here. There's one big decision that leaks from the page there, and that is that Harry Robertson is back in the squad. Before he went out injured, arguably undroppable, was in great form. Obviously, since then, Dion Cross has come in. Now, I saw on one of the channels, Dion Cross drops out for Robertson. I don't think he does. I think Dion Cross is not somebody that's dropping out of this squad. He's too good, which means, well, what are we doing on the wings? Tristan Saylor's not coming out. So I keep going back to my old mate, Lewis Murphy. And Lewis Murphy doesn't deserve to be dropped. So for me, it's going to be very interesting to see what does Wellens do. I mean, Greg, the old adage, you don't change your winning side. For the last 2 weeks, Saints have had a little bit of fluidity. They've been gaining good, combinations. It's been working well. As good as Robertson has been, does he come straight back into the 17? And if he's going to be on the bench, which for me, I don't see why he would be, unless again there's injuries and he can cover a multitude of positions in those back places. But if everybody's fully fit, does he drop Noah Stevens, which has been the thing all year? I mean, and again, I'd find that really odd. So I think, for me, the starting 17 is going to be fascinating for Wellens. Does he stick? Does he twist? What happens with Robertson? What's your thoughts, mate?
It's a great problem for Paul Wellens to have, isn't it? He's not played since early April.
Yeah.
Robertson, I don't think he'll come back in. But I wouldn't be surprised if he is on the bench, because he can cover wing, centre, he can cover fullback.
Yeah.
So I think, if anything, I think he will be on the bench as cover for the backs. But Dion Cross has been, been superb since he moved across. Sailor, a revelation on the wing. So yeah, I'm with you, Dave. I think it's very, very difficult to justify dropping any of that 13 to put Robertson in, and I think he'll go on the bench as cover across the backs. Probably Noah Stevens to miss out.
Oh, well, I hope not for Noah's sake. Simo, I mean, looking at that squad, for me, Robertson, I think because Dion Cross has come in, if Dion Cross hadn't come in and they were still playing Whitley in the centres, I could understand that. But the fact that now they brought Dion Cross in, I think Robertson's got to be told, as good as he was before his injury, I'm afraid to say, you're gonna have to wait your chance. You're gonna have to wait your chance. We know injuries will happen. He'll get, he'll be back in sooner or later. But I think the right message is you've got to work your way back into the team. And I think Wellens has got to show faith with the team that has won the last two.
Yeah, I mean, I know you've mentioned it already, Dave, but I'm sorry, but Mr. Wellens needs to grow a pair of plums, and he needs to be dropping Tristan Sailor, and that's me saying it.
But he's not on the last two games, Simo.
Listen, I know he's played well last two games, but if Harry Robertson's fit, he needs to make a statement, does Paul Wellens, and if he's going to go out on his sword, that may be it. He needs to get rid of Tristan Sailor out of the team. Bit of a wide call. I know he's been playing well on wing, but it's kind of like Cinderella and shoe, in it. You can only put it on so many feet before it starts smelling.
Radio, and on that bombshell,
there's a childhood ruined.
There you go. Good man. Right, we're going to get to the squads in a minute for tonight's game, but before we do, let's just finish off this game. The English Civil War has to be. Two of the most informed players, two of the best players in Super League tomorrow night, on the same field. And look at these side by side. It really is a privilege to be in an era where we're seeing these two men strut their stuff. Tries 10-6, assists 13 apiece. Both of them have got a good tackle bust on them. Look at the breaks, look at the carries, look at the runs. Boys, it's enough for anyone to. If you're not at one of the other two games, I mean, there's only one game to watch on Friday night if you're not at a live game, and it's got to be this one. These two alone are worth tuning in for. Wellesby, Greg, back at it at fullback. This is where he belongs, and he could be the key to potentially KR losing their second game of the season in Super League.
It could very well be. I think, as you say, Dave, I think fullback is his position. He controls it. He controls the game from the back. He needs to be there. He watches the one thing that Wellesby doesn't get a lot of praise for that I've noticed. He watches what's going on ahead of him very well from fullback. And that is a sign of a class fullback. He watches the game. He's almost psychic in kind of predicting what's going to happen, where to be defensively and attacking wise. We've seen those runs across the field to take out a winger or to take out a fullback on the attack. Yeah, I mean, can you imagine having, never mind Wolford and Ripapi in the same side. Imagine having these two in the same side. That would be absolutely superb.
Well, England will at the end of the season.
Well, I do hope so. This is what I'm getting at. I do hope that is the case for not the World Cup, as I said on Tuesday, but the Ashes at the end of the season. So forgive me for that little mistake on Tuesday.
We all make them, sir. Simo, in terms of Mikey Lewis, it's mad by his own standards, perhaps not quite at the pinnacle that he was in 2024. But that said, he is still in the mix for Man of Steel back-to-back, isn't he?
Yeah, he's still in mix for Man of Steel. But then again, he's an halfback and he's been playing well. So most halfbacks that play well in Super League are always in mix for Man of Steel. We how they do the points for that. I think he's playing well. He's Mikey, and I think he could be the key to keeping KR's role going.
Absolutely. Couldn't agree with you more. Fantastic. Well worth tuning in for that one tomorrow night. Right, the teams are in. Let's go through tonight's side, starting with the Huddersfield Giants. And Flanagan does play fullback. That's great news. The back line is Halsall. Bibby goes back into centre. Milne and Swift. It is Clune and Lollahea as the two halves. up in the front row. George King, now he did a stellar job for KR as starting prop. He's back. That's a massive bonus. And Tristan Powell makes his debut starting for Huddersfield this evening. Wolford at 9. In the second row, it's Rushton and Greenwood with Leroy Cudjoe at loose forward. On the bench is Ash Goulding, Oliver Wilson, Burgess and Rush. Rush a surprise. Sam Hewitt dropped to 18th man. Something's going on there because he wasn't in the. He was relegated to the bench last week, and he's not even in the starting 17. Now, for me, has something been said? Is he not happy? One thing's for certain: if Hewitt is 100% fit and he's not getting in that Giant side, are we going to see another Wardle here? Are we going to see another great Huddersfield player wanting an exit? Simo, your thoughts on, first of all, Sam Hewitt, Goulding and Rush, 2 utilities, 2 halves with Hewitt on the bench. What's going on?
I don't know. There's got to be something with Sam Hewitt. He's got to either be unfit. He's not out of form because he's been playing well. I think Goulding, like you said, and Rush. I think. I don't get it. I just don't. I don't get where Robbo's coming from with that. There's just something they just don't feel right about that selection tonight for Huddersfield, and it's strange.
Very strange. I mean, Greg. You're Sam Hewitt, a fellow Sam Hewitt. I am. I actually, in any other side, I think we see the best of Hewitt. I think Hewitt has shown his quality in a poor Huddersfield team now for 2 seasons. Last week we were scratching our head in terms of Huddersfield, especially with the Flanagan. And this week he's got that bit right for me. But Sam Hewitt?
I don't get it. Simo says if he's not fit, I don't think he should be named as 18th man if he's not fit, because he could be brought into play with a head injury situation. I don't know. I'm not privy to what goes on behind the scenes at Huddersfield. One would only think that something might be resolved over the next few weeks with a week off next week. Maybe things will be said to resolve this issue. It's very, very interesting. Very, very interesting. It is. Let's move over. This was, of course, the squad. I'll tell you the Lee lineup now. David Armstrong does return at fullback. He is going with McIntosh and Keenan Brand on the wings. No Josh Charnley. I'm right in saying no, he's not. Yeah, no Josh Charnley. I think he's 19th. I've seen in the chat he's 19th. It's been named as 19th player.
Whatever that means. There's 18.
If there's an injury in the warm up, or if it's
not warmed up yet, mate. He's doing some there, mate. Darnell McIntosh and Keenan Brand on the wings with Bailey Hodgson on the bench. Don't get that. I don't get that. I have to say, Tessie New and Hanley remain in the centres. Ben McNamara deputising for O'Brien. Lachlan Lamb, Joe Hangai and Robbie Mulhern are the starting props. Edwin Ipape, of course. Frankie Holland, Owen Trout, second row. Lovely second row, that. Isaac Liu is at loose forward. Alex Tavaki, Jack Hughes, Matt Davis and Bailey Hodgson on the bench. Yes, I'm guessing Charlie's injured. Would you say, Simo?
Yeah, he's got to be injured, because you'd have had Charlie in that team, especially going up against Swift. That would have been an incredible head-to-head on night. Yeah, I just think it's going to be a very, very close game, and there's tune in to Sky to watch it.
Yeah, and Greg, just looking at the benches, we always say the bench has a big, big part to play. Is the Lee, for Lee Leopards fans, is that a concern tonight? Is it too light? I'll just tell you they are again. Titavaki had a better game when he came on last week. He did punch a couple of times against FC. Jack Hughes, who we know, of course, from his time at Warrington, of course, his time at Lee. Matt Davis and Bailey Hodgson, they're going to be coming up a bench. Let's just remind you the bench now for the Huddersfield Giants, if we can get it back up. I know it was Burgess, Wilson, but of course Rush and Russian Goulding. Bit more size on the Huddersfield bench. Could that be key this evening?
Yeah, I think that kind of when you give the benches and the packs, I think those two things kind of even themselves out. Yeah. Did you say Tessie Newey?
Tessie New's in centre, yeah.
that makes me feel better for Lee, because he's been outstanding so far from what I've seen in this season. Yeah, it's an interesting one, this, isn't it? Very much so.
It's going to be a good game.
Lee's pack is on paper probably better than Huddersfield's starting pack, but then when you take the bench into consideration, maybe Robinson's gone for agility and pace rather than power. Maybe he sees that's the way forward. And a bit of guile, maybe a bit of not saying that the Lee pack isn't intelligent, but a bit of intelligence around the middles. I don't know what Robinson's thinking is there.
I think the thing about Adrian Lam is that, he has come out and said that the likes of Brand, the likes of Hodgson are the future of the club. I mean, it looks like Josh Charnley's not going to get a contract for 2026. And I think, there comes a point in every season, if that's the decision that's been made, that you've got to start showing your loyalty to the future. And I get that. But based on where Lee currently are, 2 losses now on the spin, I just thought maybe tonight he'd bang Charnley in just to give him a bit more experience on the left. But hey, we will wait and see. It's making for a very fascinating game of rugby league. Now then, Mr. Nixon, where will you be tomorrow night at 6 o'clock out of curiosity?
Oh, let me think. I might be in the Bluebell.
You might be in the Bluebell. Yes, the Bluebell. We'll come to that in a second. But yes, the Bluebell. If you're Castleford Tigers fans out there, you need to be getting to the Bluebell tomorrow. Don't believe the hype. Don't believe the rumors. It's literally a 5-minute walk from the HJ Stadium. Get down to the Bluebell. Get it in your sat nav. At 6 o'clock, the car park is free at Golden Square. So get to the Golden Square car park 6. If you're on the coaches, have a walk down. It'll take you 5 minutes. It's a great night. 6 o'clock we'll be in there from. We'll be going live at 6:30 on YouTube in the pub. We'll be playing some games. Let me put it this way. The Robins fans absolutely loved it. We did it for the first time last Friday. Let's take a look. Well, hello, everybody, and welcome to the home of Super League Raw here at the Bluebell for the first ever Super League Raw live before a Warrington game. Got loads of Robins in the pub. They're here in force. The respect crowd are with us. We'll get a few of them on camera in a few minutes. This is Super League Raw at the Bluebell. If your team is coming to Warrington this season, make sure you come to the Bluebell. We have got probably, I'm estimating, about 30 Robins in the pub, as well as Warrington Wolves fans. We're all getting along. We're all having a good time. We are one rugby league family. We win with grace, we lose with grace, and we show each other the utmost respect. Catch Super League Raw Weekly every Tuesday, 8 p.m. live on YouTube. Right, Pete? My old mucker. Are you going to win a pint of fresh air, or are you going to win a pint of lager?
Fresh air, probably.
Closer to that.
Right. Fresh air, probably.
Fresh air, probably. Right, your first question. Joe Burgess, or is it Mikey Lewis?
Burgess. It's Burgess.
You're Burgess.
Lewis. Mikey Lewis.
It's Mikey Lewis. It's Mikey Lewis. So the most he could win now is half a pint. He's lost his pint. He's now got half a pint. If he gets this one right. Or you're just getting a glass to go up with. Right, okay.
Glass up there, I mean.
Yeah, but you're not allowed it in the stadium, so you have to leave it until you come next time. Right, okay, here we go. So, question 3. Wigan. The Wigan Warriors, the Cherry and Whites, have scored more tries than the Robins in 2025. However, the Robins have scored more points. So the question is, how many points have the Robins scored? Is it 223 or 203 in Super League? 223 and 203. 203 is what he's going for. Drum roll, ladies and gentlemen. Here we go. He's won a glass. Oh yes, no beer. It's a shocking effort.
In love with you, I'll be forever blue. I can't no reason why it makes me work so hard. That's bingo, that's bingo, that's bingo, that's bingo, so I hear you calling. Oh, baby, please, give a little respect to me.
Yes, join us live at 6 o'clock in the Bluebell. It was a great crack between us and the Robins fans. And yes, there was a singer on. We asked him to play a little respect for the Robins fans there. And as you saw, Warrington and Hull KR fans singing loud and proud their song, because that's what the Rugby League community does. Greg, it was a great night. We're looking forward to welcoming the Castleford Tigers tomorrow night. There's going to be great banter, great laugh, and then we'll walk down to the stadium together. The Bluebell, it's corporate without corporate. It's going to be great, isn't it?
Oh, mate, it was brilliant last week. Really enjoyed it. It was like being on the tube, for those of you old enough to remember the tube. Yeah, I mean, there was a real feel-good factor about the place. Everybody got on. Everybody had a good laugh. We talked sensibly about rugby as well. It was just a great night, an absolute great night. And hopefully, I'm sure the Castleford fans, I'm sure Simo will divert the bus towards the Bluebell tomorrow night.
Well, he should do. He needs to make sure that he's speaking to all of his mates who are travelling and make sure that they get themselves down to the Bluebell. Right, okay, let's get to that game then, gentlemen. Let's do it. Warrington Wolves taking on the Castleford Tigers at the Halliwell Jones Stadium. I don't know where Simo's gone. Where's Simo gone?
I'm here.
Oh, your camera's gone, mate. Your camera's gone off. What's going on?
I'm still here.
Oh, your camera's gone. Don't know what's happened there, Chief. Right, okay, but we can still hear you, so that's good. The game here between Warrington and against the Castleford Tigers at the Halliwell Jones Stadium on Friday evening. It's 9th against 10th, just one place between these two sides. Warrington in history have won more between the two sides. The last time Cass won at the Halliwell Jones Stadium was in round 25 of the 22 season, 1918, in a very close game indeed. Warrington on a 3-game losing streak, just won 1 in 5. 1 in 5 also for the Castleford Tigers. Nothing in it in terms of points for, nothing in it in terms of points against. Tackle efficiency as close as you like. Every conceivable stat as close as you like. Greg, that probably suggests that this is going to be very tight again on Friday.
Yeah, I would have. You'd think so, wouldn't you? I mean, the where they are for a reason, 9th and 10th respectively. I think this could be a very closely fought game, and of course, it all hinges on what Sam Burgess is going to do with regards to team selection. We've lost Ollie Leyland for the season. We've heard this week with another ACL, so that's another player he might rotate. Unavailable to him. So a very interesting night's ahead of us tomorrow, I think.
Yeah, Simo, in a minute when we play the next video, mate, you might want to log off, log back in. I think what you've done is you've not said that it can use your camera all the time. You turn your camera off, and once you do that, you don't get your camera back. So in a minute, when I tell you, log out, log back in, and we'll get you back on video as well. But stay on the line because we want your take on this one. Both of these two sides, Simo, are leaking points. Warrington in the last 5 have conceded on average 25 a game, Cast 19 a game. So we would expect tries here, Simo, wouldn't we?
Yeah, you'll expect tries. I mean, both teams have only won 2 of the last 6 games. I think same again. Will Wire have won of a looking over the shoulder towards next weekend? But what will Sam Burgess do with his match day 17? That's obviously going to be up for discussion. I think it'll be a close game, and I am gutted that I'm not going.
Yes, spoiler alert, Simo not going to be there, but it is going to be very interesting indeed. Now, look, a lot of players out here for both. Look, Greg, Wire, no Ashton, no Williams, no Hayes, no Walker, no Leyland. Connor Wrench as well. Just doesn't seem to be back-to-back Connor Wrench. I've not heard what that is, but it clearly is injured again. Kai Taylor-Ray as well. Big losses there for the Warrington Wolves. And again, when you look at who he's picked, I don't think Dufty plays. There was a doubt over Dufty at the end of the game last week. Do not be surprised if Josh Fulis is fullback.
Yeah. Lindop's in the squad, isn't he? He can play
Lindop's
fullback
there,
as well.
Yeah.
Don't be surprised. Don't be surprised at all if he doesn't play. We've got some coming back, Sam Powell, Paul Vaughan. Whether they'll play, I'm not too sure. Lachlan Fitzgibbon as well. We know what happened to him at Wembley last year when Sam played him and he wasn't 100% fit. It's a difficult one, isn't it? It's a game that Warrington really have to win to get some confidence back in the squad for Wembley. So it's a really, I think this is a bigger headache for Sam Burgess than it is for Willie Peters. This game tomorrow.
Well, yeah, but equally, you know, some of these players are fighting for a spot at Wembley. You know, because one thing's for certain, you know, you look at those absentees. There's no Matty Ashton, so you know, wingers are playing for wing spots. George Williams, will he play? Will he not? You know, there's a questioning point. Leon Hayes, obviously unlikely. We know Danny Walker's long term. Ollie Leyland's long term. So to be fair, when you look at who's out there for Warrington, that pretty much, with probably the exception of George Williams, is the 21-man squad that Warrington's got to pick from the Challenge Cup final. So, you know,
quite possibly. And they're in he's not. I thought he might have included more reserve players. I mean,
he's not.
Hartill's in there.
I think you learned his lesson after last year, mate, where that's concerned.
I hope so.
Yeah.
So it is a bit of a headache for Mr. Burgess, I've got to admit.
It is indeed. Then, of course, we go to the Tigers, who actually are in decent fettle. No Jason Gary, of course. Sam Wood out. That's a blow for them, as is Tom Amone and Jeremiah Simbikin. Muiz Mustafa also is missing for the Tigers. Yeah. What are your thoughts? It's as good as it possibly could be. I think you'd probably have liked Amone in there, wouldn't you, Simo?
Yeah, definitely they'd like to moan. I hope that Danny Maguire picks a bit more of a stronger 17 than he did last week at Leeds. I think that going back to obviously Castleford and Leeds, I think Leeds definitely did us with their substitutes, and I'm hoping this week we go a little bit bigger, and I'm hoping to see Hugo Salibio and obviously Dan Okoro, which he has been granted permission to play against his parent club this week.
Yeah, Okoro's an exciting talent. I know that the Tigers fans have been very impressed with his go forward since arriving at the Jungle. I think game management is key, gentlemen, tomorrow. I really, really do. I think Sneed will play. I don't think that I think Sneed has to play. It's too much of a risk to just send him straight in. He can't go into the Challenge Cup final if Williams is going to play with two halfbacks that neither play this game. So I think he's got to play Sneed. Sneed's got to prove his fitness, and he'll want Sneed to come through it. And then it's just maybe a slight gamble with George Williams. It's very unlikely he's going to throw both Sneed and Williams in for the final if Sneed doesn't play this, for me personally. But you can see how important Sneed is. His kicking game, attacking kicks in general play. Not doing as well with conversions this year thus far, but also Rowan Milnes. These two players for me, game management is going to be very, very important. Greg, do you agree? Do you think Sneed plays? It's too much of a risk surely for him not to, and then just put him in at the final. Greg, are you there? Simo, what are your thoughts?
Hello, Greg. One, two.
We'll just carry on. Don't know what's happening, Greg.
Yeah, I think Sneed will play tomorrow, and I think he's got to not have two halves that just tip up for final.
Yeah, I think Greg's back. Greg, do you?
Yeah, sorry about that, mate.
Yeah, okay. Mark Sneed, mate. Do you agree he plays tomorrow?
Yeah, I got the gist that day. My internet dropped out there all of a sudden. I do apologise. I think Ratchford and Sneed will both play just in case Williams doesn't make it, and they will be our halfback pair at Wembley. I think they've got to play.
Yes, I agree, and I think for me, Sneed, because of the I'd say that the injuries are Warrington, they're going to have to live with that, unfortunately. But I think Sneed is critical. I think Warrington would expect to win this game. I'm sorry, they would expect to win it. That's not to say that Castleford aren't going to win it, but Warrington will expect. If Warrington lose this going into a final with that squad, with only probably Williams to come in, that's not good preparation. Warrington desperately need to get a win on Friday to gain a little bit of momentum. Cass, of course, are going to be coming to spoil the party. Simo, do you think your team can do it?
I always hope my team can do it, and I want my team to do it. But will they do it? It's another question. I think they'll take Wire close, but being a realistic fan, I'm going to go Wire 1-8.
Wire 1-8. Earl Crabtree sees it Wire to 1-8. Greg, you saw it 9-17 Wire. I saw it 1-8 Wire. Right, Simo, log out, log back in, because now we're going to do a little bit of more promotion for the Bluebell, because, ladies and gentlemen, he's back in June, the Super League Raw Quiz Night. Do you know your rugby league? Here we go. Yes, it is back. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. It is back. It will be the Super League Raw quiz night at the Bluebell, 25th of June, a Wednesday night. Match tickets up for grabs. Simo's gone again. I don't know where he's gone. He's having a nightmare.
Whoa.
Yeah, you've gone again, mate. Don't know what's going on there, pal. Log out, log back in, mate. We'll get you on next time. Go on, log back out, log back in. But yeah, don't know what's going on with Simo's video. Apologies for that. But yes,
Is he on Joel's Wi-Fi?
Absolutely. We are back for the Super League Raw quiz night, 25th, the Wednesday night. Get yourself to the Bluebell, book yourself a table, get a meal beforehand. The food there is absolutely exceptional. And like I say, great prizes up for grabs. Become a member, $4.99 a month. Enjoy all the benefits. Go over to our website and have a look and see all those member benefits. We have got already a commitment of about 25 people already going to the grand final. Already, and that is only going to grow over the next few weeks. Come and join the fastest growing community in rugby league. Right, here's Simo again. Do not turn your camera off. Stay where you are. Right, okie dokie. So that's that. Let's now get into what is going to be an absolutely fantastic game on Saturday, 4:30 p.m. kickoff. Super League War watch along live with Mark Hill and a other on Saturday evening. This is going to be an absolute belter. Really cannot wait for this game. It should be wonderful, wonderful fare. Make sure you're there. Third against sixth. Oh, yes. 45-14 in the favour of Leeds. No surprise there. 3-2 only, though. Only 3-2 in the last 5 games. So that tells you a little bit. Wakey have won the last 2. They won in 2023, the 24-14. And then they won, of course, at the start of the season, 14-12, which I predicted on BBC Leeds, much to James Dayton's disgust on the night. But then, of course, I was right. So, yes, Wakey, absolutely outstanding. Both come into this on a 3-game winning streak. The points, look at that. Wakey have scored more points, 305 to 242, but they have conceded slightly more. Tackle efficiency, neck and neck. Better kicking from Wakey. That could be, I mean, again, 14-12 start of the season. That could be pivotal, boys. That could be pivotal. And, of course, the error count just in Wakey's favour and the 61 to 53 more penalties to Wakefield Trinity in there. In terms of the cards, Wakefield have had 3 yellows this year. Leeds 1 red. 5 yellows. I don't think they can afford to have anybody sent to the bin or sent off Leeds in this one. Boys, absolutely outstanding. Greg, this should be a belter, arguably for me, alongside the Saints KR one, potentially the game of the round.
Oh, without a doubt. Wakefield surprised a lot of people by going down to Headingley and winning early in the season. I think we've all been very, very open with our praise of Wakefield this season. Stef, especially on Tuesday night, convinced they'll be the top 6. I think Leeds' discipline has got to be on the ball this game. I think 2 very, very, on the face of it, evenly matched teams at this moment in time.
Yeah, absolutely. And Simo, I mean, as much as it must grind you a little bit, mate, Wakey deserve that praise, don't they?
Yeah, they do. It's literally paining me to say that Wakey are a quality team this year, and Darryl Powell's got them firing. This, like you say, it has got the potential to be game of the round. And yeah, I just think it'll be a cracker. And obviously, I think Headingley, it could be home team advantage just slightly.
Well, could be. Let's get into the detail. Of course, the squads have been announced for this one. Here they are. Right. Actually, that's the wrong squads. What's going on there? Oh, hey up. Here we go. My apologies again, but this will be quickly changed, so don't worry about that. Here we go. What's going on? Tell you, I've had a couple of nightmares here this evening. Here you go. I actually had this. I know I did. Don't know where that's gone. There you go. Right. As you can see, that's changed now as well. There you go. We're there. No Simo, no Frawley, no Ackers. Long-term absentees there for Leeds. And Truman, Russell. I mean, Jake Truman. Wow. Just wow. And a couple of the big boys as well, missing Matty Staunton and Tony and Hamlin Yuli. I hope I've said that right. Out for Wakefield Trinity. But good squads. Really, really good squads. I think both sides will go into this, Greg, very optimistic for a win.
Yeah, I think they will. I think this is a tough one to call. Max Jowett has been superb at fullback, as has Lackey Miller. He's kind of come into form, Miller, this season. I think there was from what I saw of him last season, there were glimpses of what he was capable of. I think he's fulfilling if he can stay injury free. So that's a good battle from fullback. You know, Liam Hood's been playing well. I think it's I think this is as I said, a game that's a really close to call, and I think home advantage might just sway it.
Yeah, I agree. I think I went Leeds 1-8. I saw it that way. Earl Crabtree.
Leeds 1-8.
Leeds have gone. Sorry.
Same, Leeds 1-8.
Yeah, you've gone Leeds 1-8. Earl's gone Leeds by 10. A lot of love for Leeds, that home advantage, and they're having good sparkling form. It's got to be said, but it could go either way. I mean, look, we're very excited about this contest. What a contest! 2 prop forwards who last week were quite simply brilliant, both in good form as well. Really looking forward to these two going toe to toe, both scoring tries, both have got a tackle bust in them. More offloads come from Fiatilli, but again, the carries, the work rate, really good meters. I think I'm right in saying Fiatilli's probably averaging about 8.3. I think Lazzone about 7.4 as an average carry. But these two will have a big say, and there might be an earthquake around Leeds on Saturday, Greg.
Yeah, well, I think Lazzone cleaned out last week, didn't he? He caused, I think he cleaned out a moan, and he's been looking to clean out more this week. As I've just been pointed out to me in the chat, Jowett's been in the halves last 2 games, so apologies for that with Rourke at fullback. So apologies for that, people in the chat. But yeah, I mean, I think we've all been impressed with Fiatilli. He's burst on the scene. He had a superb game against us. I don't think I've seen him have a bad game, and he's good for a good couple of tries each time he plays, which for a forward is a great return.
Yeah, he's growing. He's growing. And Sam Lazzone is going to make his 200th career appearance on Saturday. A good milestone for him, Simo. And I think the only thing with Lazzone for me is I do think he leads with the elbow.
Yeah, he disguises the leading elbow very well. The 2 players that you've got on this screen have both terrorised Castleford recently. I think if Lazzone can replicate his form in the last couple of games coming off the bench, I think he could punch quite a few holes down middle to give Leeds some options out wide.
Absolutely. Couldn't agree more. I think it's going to be a fascinating tussle and for me, worthy of a watch-along live this Saturday from 4:15 live on YouTube. Super League Raw watch-along live. A lot of people last week synced it, our coverage to their TVs and actually turned down the commentary and listened to our lads do it. And that will only get better week on week. Maybe you want to do the same. And quite a few people tonight, new names in the chat. Richard Parkin saying Rourke will be fullback as an example of one. Guys, if you're not members of Super League Raw, yeah, you could go and buy yourselves a magazine, or you could actually buy yourself a subscription here at Super League Raw. You get more programs than this, some behind the paywall. You get access to the fastest growing community in rugby league. Get over to our website, do the QR code, consider becoming a member. We're getting bigger, we're getting better every single week. Massive game that, really looking forward to it. And actually, for both teams, a win really does give them, again, a big leg up for that race for the top 6. If Leeds were to win that one, I think they're in a really good spot in terms of the top 6 in 2025. Right, then we go to the final game of the round. Of course, it is in Perpignan. The Catalan Dragons in pretty poor form, it's got to be said, going up against Hull FC, who also, up to last week, were in poor form. Let's not forget they lost 4 on the spin, but they were exceptional against the Lee Leopards. Again, points for, very little in it. Very, very little in it. Tackle efficiency, pretty similar as well. It is 8th against 7th. That's surprising me. Everybody's talking about Catalan Dragons and how poor they've been, and everybody said how impressed we've been with Hull FC. There's only one place separating, and there's very little in it when you look at those stats. There really, really is. So, look, this could be a very interesting game indeed. Again, 22-21 in history as well. 2 draws between the 2 sides. Quite extraordinary, really. 4-1 the last 5 in the favour of Catalan. Greg, FC can't take this for granted, can they? If any FC fan who thinks this is going to be a cakewalk, he could potentially come away disappointed.
It's always a banana skin going to Catalan. No matter who you are, we've seen that in the past, that they've come up against some sides that have been flying high and humbled them, Catalan. But I think I've read today that Pangai Junior and Sims have dropped out the squad. So, they're big misses. Tariq Sims, especially, coming from the bench, and Pangai Jr. is a big unit. So, yeah, it is a banana skin, but I do see Hull winning this one, and I'd see them on the back of their performance. If they can replicate what they did against Lee last week, I think they'll win this one quite easily.
Well, Earl Crabtree, he agrees. He's gone 14. He's gone 14. I know you went 18 plus. He's gone 9-17 as Earl. I actually went Catalan 1-8. With the factor. Simo, how do you see it?
I've gone FC 9-17.
Yeah.
And
I mean, I know FC were expecting Cartwright back for this. I mean, Ian Judson on final said Jordan Lane as well. They're both out, as is the best fullback in Super League, Logan Moy. Liam Watts also missing for them. As for the Dragons, no Tompkins, no Bousquet. Ben Garcia as well. No, Ben Garcia's back, sorry. No Bousquet.
Ben Garcia's back, isn't he?
Yeah, Tavita Pangai. Tariq Sims, you're quite right. And Tariq Sims has been in really good form. He's got to be said.
Yeah.
And Bailey Sirinen. So both of these are missing certainly big game players, no doubt about it. It's going to be an interesting game on Saturday evening. But the one that I wanted to pull out in this, because like I say, 7th against 8th, Canal FC back up. They're going to have to do it without this man. And I just wanted to highlight this man, John Asiata. Let's just change that graphic a little bit so that we can see it a little bit differently. John Asiata, this is how pivotal he is. And I've highlighted in green the difference between John and other really good 13s this season. I think arguably these are the 3 top 13s this year up to now. I know, and Cade Ellis just on the outside of this, by the way, you Wigan Warriors fans. But I think Elliot Minchella has been superb. So has Morgan Knowles. And there's certain stats there where the likes of Minchella and Morgan Knowles shine over John Asiata. But the carries, 200. Asiata has his footprint over everything, absolutely everything FC have done this year that he's good. He allows the space. He's normally first receiver, creates a bit of space, then fires it out to Cuss, fires it out to Aiden Caesar to great effect. And, people will look at his tackle efficiency being worse than Knowles and Minchella. That's probably because he carries it more. He does put a hell of a shift in on both sides of the ball, as John Asiata. So, yeah, that affects his tackle efficiency, but it's still 90%. But for me, this is a massive hole to fill. And that's why I went Catalan. Because for me, is Cuss 100% off the back of that Everyday Pappy tackle last week? Is his ribs 100% effective? And how are they going to plug this gap? We already know as well they've got issues in the second row. So for me, Greg, if my analysis is right, Asiata could be the reason why they come unstuck.
You're 100% there, Dave. You're spot on with that, yeah. He was telling last week that when he went off, Hull didn't score a point. You make a very, very good point. I think Catalan are a different animal this season. They've not quite got the swagger. They've not got quite the game together this season than they've had over the last few seasons. Things have clearly gone on behind the scenes. I don't think Joel Tompkins is the answer. I think he's been given a poison chalice. Despite Asiata being out, I just see Hull being too strong.
Fair enough. I mean, don't get me wrong. Bousquet, Tavita Pangai Jr. out. I get that.
That's a big miss, yeah.
That are missing. And of course, Liam Knight and SAS are in great form. Like I say, if FC do come unstuck, I think on round unpacked, on final whistle, I think this will be the man that we're talking about. If they come unstuck, I think this will be the reason why. And we'll be able to see it. If they can fill this hole effectively, Greg, you might be right. They have got enough on the field to continue Catalan's poor run of form. Simo, how do you see it?
You're right. Asiata is going to be a massive void to fill. I mean, looking at the FC squad, I think FC's got 2 options, in my opinion. It's either Denver Barnforth to play 13.
Denell Barnforth, yeah.
Or I would go a bit of left field and I'd put Zach Hardacre at 13.
Well, it's interesting you mentioned Balnforth because when Hull FC came to Warrington and played the reserves, Balnforth did play 13 that night. And in the first half, he had a sensational game. But because I watched that, there is a little bit of a caveat. He blew himself out in the first half. His energy levels in the second had gone. They really had. First half, him and the Kemp twins run Warrington riot. And then Warrington in the second half came back and beat them. FC were winning that game at half-time. But like I say, Balfour did play 13. I just question his engine to do that job. But it's a great shout because he has been playing a couple of times in reserves there. Great knowledge, Simo. That's why you're on, mate. Great effort. But yeah, unbelievable stuff. Look, all I know is that is a great game in the making. We've got two wonderful games on Saturday. We've got the Wakey game, which is just tantalising. We'll fire Tilly going again. Woo-hoo! We'll wait and see.
Twice.
And then we've got Perpignan to look forward to. Brilliant fair on Saturday, outstanding stuff. We've got a great game in Saints against KR on Friday, and we've got a wonderful game that is happening in just under an hour at the John Smith Stadium. Yet again, the captain's run taking you pretty much all the way to the Sky broadcast. That's what Super League Raw delivers week in, week out. Of course, we didn't do Bet Stef on Super League Raw Weekly, and of course, everybody would be gutted if, of course, we didn't hear from the sale. So here is something that we prepared a little earlier.
Are you sick and tired of winning your bets every week? Want to contribute to the bookies' Christmas party? The bets to ignore when predicting the score. Ladies and gentlemen, it's time for Bet Stef.
Hello and welcome to this week's Bet Stef. Apologies I can't be there live tonight with you. Got some pressing things to get on with, but here's this week's Bet Stef. So for my handicap, I've backed my own team. I think this one could be a bit doubtful, but we'll see. Lee minus 9.5 over Huddersfield. I'm expecting a much improved performance over Huddersfield from Huddersfield this week. So could they beat that 9.5? We'll have to wait and see. Saints plus 6.5. I think this is going to be a really close game between Saints and Hull KR this evening. Obviously, KR will have Wembley on the mind and a much rejuvenated Saints team. So I think that 6.5 is going to be a pretty decent bet. I'm not saying Hull KR won't win, but I think it's going to be close. I've gone for Warrington minus 8.5. I think there's going to be a few players who are going to be wanting to put the name forward for the Challenge Cup final. Maybe some of the outside squad playing in this game. And Warrington kept coming off the back of another good performance. As to were Castleford holding leads, obviously to 7-0 at half time. I don't see this as a walkover win for Warrington, but I do think they'll have just enough to, especially in the last 20 minutes, to maybe make up that handicap. I've then gone outright win on this one rather than a handicap. I've taken Wakefield to beat Leeds. Two sides in great form. Obviously at Headingley again. Wakefield have already done it once. I've got a funny feeling Wakefield are gonna beat Leeds this week, so I've just gone for an outright, which at 3.4 is fantastic odds on a 2-horse race. So I picked those, and then Catalan Dragons Hull FC. Another one, I'm gone for an outright win. I think the loss of John Asiata Hull FC is going to be pivotal. Catalan need to put in a much improved performance than they have to keep those home fans on board. And I've just got a funny feeling on this one that Catalan may pull it out the bag. So Catalan Dragons outright at 1.72. So the bookie's seeing that potentially as well. So total 5-fold accumulator. If you bet £1 on this one, 40-1 basically. And then the threefold treble try scorer anytime accumulator. I've picked Tessie New. I think he's due a try against Huddersfield this evening. Tristan Saylor, who's been in great form since moving to the wing. I can see him sneaking over at Craven Park. And Ennis Senior, another one who's been in really good form. So two wingers and a centre for this week's try score anytime. A bit lower odds because of that, 16-1. But still a worthwhile bet, and don't forget this is the one we won last week. So yes, get yourself on this one. So with that, have a great evening, enjoy the rugby tonight, and I'll hand you back to Mr. Kane.
Well done. Always great to see Mr. Sale. That's his Bet Stef for this week, and that just leaves me to thank these two men on the screen. Big thanks, of course, to Simo on debut, coming in for the members. If you become a member of Super League Raw, you can come and take this place, this Dallas. Look at him. He's like Bobby Ewan. He's that good looking. There he is. Look at him. And he's even come dressed for the part. Good lad. But, Simo, on behalf of us all, mate, thanks for getting involved. Really appreciated your time, mate.
Thank you for letting me come on. It's a privilege, and like I said, this is one of the many benefits of becoming a member. You get a voice, and you get to be part of the community, and you meet like-minded fans up and down country, and it'll be a pleasure to see you soon.
Absolutely. Well, maybe at Wembley, because we're all at Wembley in a week's time, you included, my friend. So the Super League Raw community at Wembley will be great. And Greg, of course, I'm sure you've enjoyed another captain's run, mate. It's good to have you on.
It's a rare night out for me, mate. Yeah, loved it. It's brilliant.
Fantastic. Well, there you go. We took you right up to the Sky broadcast. 15 minutes to go, and then Sky will be on for you. So go and get yourself a few snacks. Go and get yourself a few beers. The greatest game on earth is about to kick off round 13 in about 45 minutes' time. Who is going to come out on top? Is it the Giants? Is it the Leopards? Only one way to find out. Go and watch the greatest sport on earth. We will be back for the Final Whistle podcast on Sunday. You'll be able to listen to that on your way to work on Monday. And here comes what else you've got to look forward to next week from Super League Raw. On behalf of us all, have a great round 13. See you soon.